3rd of October, Monday the 3rd of October already, and it's dark. So thank you for coming to the Parish Council meeting. First thing on the agenda is to receive apologies for absence, and we have apologies from Sarah and from Et and from Doug Jude. And then the next one is to receive councillors' direct declarations. This is the new bit on the agenda. This is regarding disposable, pecuniary or other registrable interests, along with the nature of those interests in relation to any agenda item. And Nick, I sent you out a list of what's and why you might be wanting to make a comment here, because this has been sort of pushed a bit, I think. Yeah. So, has anybody got any declaration regarding disclosable, not disposable, disposable, pecuniary or other registrable interests? And then the next item on the agenda is to note any dispensation requests made to the Clerk in accordance with the Disclosable Pecuniary Interest Dispensation and declare later in existence of any dispensations granted. Do we need to vote on this?
Yeah. Oh. There were no dispensation requests received.
Right, okay. So there we are. Those 3 items, items done. So at this point, I close the Parish Council meeting and open it up to the floor. Our member of public, would you like to say anything?
I'll say something quickly. I'm sure you've got a report to give, so let me just get one out of the way quickly. Just a couple of comments. 138, that congestion charge. I don't know what the proposal is, quite honestly, apart from that they're thinking of putting one, quite a strict one, in quite a large area in Cambridge. I would comment that until they improve public transport into Cambridge, I just can't get to anything. Theatre, you name it, there's no public transport that will get me back after that, even guided bus. So I'll just put that in as a, in principle, good idea, but not until better public transport. And 146, 12 blocks on the wilderness, great idea, I think. Yeah, anything to encourage kids to get outside and sit around. So just my couple of comments.
Claire, a report?
Yes, there's been quite a lot of activity going on at the council. Just starting just from, so obviously, unfortunately, the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, there were proclamations across the district on September the 11th, and I'm sure all of you might have seen that. And the Book of Condolences, I know it's in the agenda, was signed. So what's happening in the council at the moment? There's a help-shaped Huntingdonshire climate strategy. There are focus groups starting from this week onwards. So if any of you have any interest, get in contact. I can send out the key contact details, such as Lara Davenport-Ray, who's a councillor, the group councillor, so I can forward your details to her if anyone should be interested in joining a focus group. The Market Towns Programme draft master plan consultation is underway. Now, I know various of you will have seen this already. I will get that distributed around. Now, what it actually is a draft consultation piece. It's definitely not in any shape. It's sort of left over from the last council, and basically have your views, say what you think, and really give your views to help shape it, because that's what they're after. They're after public and resident input and parish council input, so please do share your views with that. The consultation, I think, closes on the 28th of October. There is also have your say on Huntingdonshire Futures. Again, it's wanting to work with residents and parish councils and parishes to join in the conversation with helping with any ideas you may have. Again, I can distribute the key contact for that. But there's lots of activity going on there. I went to a briefing last week on it. And it really, at the moment, they're at an ideas phase of co-designing what could happen in Huntingdonshire, and there's lots of ideas going. So if you've got any, do share. And also, the District Council have set up a warm spaces network for this winter, and information about this will be shared. The press release has gone out about the warm spaces programme. So if again any of you have any interest in that, do get in touch. There's also a undefeatable diabetes scheme which has been extended. So from October the 1st, they've extended their scheme there. So again, if anyone's got any interest in active lifestyles, that links in with Huntingdonshire Leisure, yeah, they're extending that scheme. So yeah, do get that information out. Also, there is a change to the pre-application planning website. It's not yet been launched with the public yet, so it's not actually sort of public knowledge, but there is going to be a launch, I am told. I went to the briefing on it soon, so I will make you all aware when the press release for that comes out. And also, as of the 12th of October, the District Council public meetings will now be streamed online, so you will be able to watch it via YouTube if there was anything of interest. I know I've been streamed in a couple of meetings so far as a trial run through, but they'll be fully available going forward from the 12th. And if anyone has any other, oh yes, the consultation for the GCP, the discussions are being had about that. Obviously, a lot of councillors across Huntingdonshire are have their own views and are upset about the stagecoach situation. I haven't had many residents or any come to me due to Hilton and Stanton, because obviously I think we were mostly go Whippet, and we lost our bus service a few years ago. So this is something I'm passionate about pushing through, is getting residents' views on public transport and helping to advocate for better transport in our ward. But the consultation for the GCP is about to begin. It's not begun yet, so when that happens, I'll be able to get out the press information for you. But obviously do share your views. It's quite a controversial thing, and it's important to get your feedback on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. The only other thing I was going to add in is there's the sustainable transport thing.
Yes.
Which is Waitrose St Ives on Thursday, 6th of October, 2 p.m. till 5 p.m. Go along and have your word on sustainable transport, which I believe is walking and cycling.
Oh, Waitrose.
Yeah, Waitrose. Waitrose St Ives, Thursday the 6th of October, 2 till 5. Local cycling and walking infrastructure plan. Quite possibly part of it. But that came through the week, didn't it? So you didn't mention it at the end, I mentioned it.
Any update on Church Lane parking situation?
At the moment, so it got escalated up to the council leader, Sarah, and she's been helpful at being quite diplomatic with it. The situation has sort of calmed down on both sides of the resident issue. Those who got planning permission and those of the residents on the street. And any hazardous parking, the local sergeant has become aware of this. So there hasn't been any further escalation since prior, I think it was August, September time when it heated up, but that has it's cooled down at the moment.
The property's on the market now, which is being sold with planning permission, so not being taken forward by those people. So maybe when it's changed hands, things will ahead again. We don't know. Good, and then I was just trying to find email from Doug that came through apologising for him not being here tonight. Hopefully there's not an email from me asking for help from myself.
Oh, I've had a couple from you.
Yeah.
Saying that you
Scarlet.
desperately need sort of thing discreetly. So
Yes.
talk to me after.
Yes. Unfortunately, they are spam, and Nicola was explained to John earlier that it's not. But if you do, if you're worried about it, just give us a ring. I'll tell you whether it's.
Are you going to talk to me discreetly? Okay.
I should say it once. So Doug apologised because he's just come back from leave, and he can report the County Council are updating the LHI application process, and this should be agreed, hopefully agreed at the Highways meeting tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Looking to work constructively with the CPCA, Cambridge and Peterborough Combined Authority Major probably Mayor, yeah, regarding the present bus problems with Stagecoach. And I'll talk about that when we get to that on the agenda. Or shall I talk about it now? Why don't we talk about it now? Can I have a little vote to bring 138 up to the next bit on the agenda, please? As we've now closed the open meeting, we'll go to the closed meeting, but it allows then Claire to go off and not stay for the whole thing. So I'd like to do that. Rob seconded, everybody in favour? Right, thank you. Okay, so to consider any actions regarding a proposal for a Cambridge congestion charge, and as we've heard from Claire, there is a consultation. As you may or may not be aware, Stagecoach put the can on 18 bus services around Cambridgeshire to start to be scrapped on the 31st of October. And the combined authority are looking and working hard to try and get some of those services covered afterwards, after the 31st of October. So working very hard on that at the moment, apparently. And combined with that is this announcement that Cambridgeshire Cambridge are looking to introduce a congestion charge within the city. And from what, there's an area that it's going to cover, it's going to be a flat fee of £5, and their hope is the money, or they're going to ring fence the money, that's not their hope, they've said, they're going to ring fence the money for improved public transport in and out of the city at a flat rate of either £1 or £2 a journey. So, but at this stage, the consultation has not been released.
Do we know what size the area is? Does it take in the park and ride, or is it
takes
within
in
the...
Adam Brooks and the Rosie Centre, Children's Centre, which is causing some upset.
Yeah. Because I mean, if you went in...
I didn't see a map today when I was reading it.
Yeah, because when you went go in on the park and ride, would you be subject to the congestion charge before you got there, or would it be after?
I haven't given those details yet.
Oh, hang on.
Claire's
Sorry.
Over to you.
Let you know that.
So I confirmed with them that it does not, or should not include park and ride, and they were very clear. There's been a lot of misinformation about it, but it does still at the moment cover the hospital, but park and ride, no.
Good.
So, but it hasn't gone out to consultation yet, and it would come in 2027, 2028 is what the proposal is. So Claire's going to let us know any more updates, and we'll keep an eye out for updates as well, and we can discuss whether or not one would get the option to be part of that consultation, because we're not actually Cambridge, and we're not Cambridgeshire, South Cambs or Cambridge City or...
but we use
But we
Cambridge.
should be the ones who are going in.
Exactly.
People living there don't need it.
No, we don't need it.
But
It's
you
quite
could
nice
vote
for the
on your
people who
feet.
don't live there.
You could vote on your feet, couldn't you? And don't go to Cambridge. And
They
kill the high street.
I try not to now.
They will value the district's views, because they did a consultation, a briefing with Huntingdonshire, and so each district has their own viewpoint, and like Cambridge will have a unique viewpoint, but they'll equally take into consideration our wards as valid as well. So don't worry about that.
It's like they don't want visitors, isn't it? They don't want you to go there.
I don't know that I'm allowed to comment, but yes, it does appear that if you want to kill the high street, put in those sort of fees. Make it more affordable, maybe, is another answer, because perhaps the idea of making public transport more affordable is good, but £5 a day seems a little hard to me, personally. But there we are. So, we have no actions to consider at the moment regarding the congestion charge, because there is no consultation open yet. But we'll keep you posted as things come up. So we've done that for now. We'll go back to the agenda now. Approve the minutes of the Parish Council meeting held on the 5th of September and the minutes of the Staffing Committee held on the 14th of June, because we couldn't do that before because not all of the appropriate people here. Have we got the appropriate people here tonight? And then we've also got a planning meeting one, the finance meeting, which was held on the 28th of September. So, the first one there, can we do them in reverse order, because I've got the finance meeting one open. So present were John, Rob and Kieran. So I need you guys to just, are the minutes correct?
Yes. Yeah, correct.
Yes. Would one of you like to propose it as? Yeah. And all of you in favour? Thank you very much. The next one that's going to open is, we said with no confidence, this is Parish Council meeting of the 5th of September. So has anybody got comments on minutes? If you have, speak now. If
I wasn't
not,
there, so I can't comment.
no. It says, and Heather wasn't there, and Kieran wasn't there. So that's less of us to worry about. I propose that they're accepted. John seconded. Sorry, Claire, too quickly, wasn't it? And the rest of us who were there have agreed that. And then we've got the staffing committee.
We were there, weren't we?
Yeah, you were there. You were there, Nicola. Dragged off your sick bay. Tuesday, the 14th of June, that was me, Kieran, and Nina, and Nicola, of course. And I propose that those minutes are accepted. Nina seconded, and we're all in favour. Thus closes the minutes. Next item is the matters arising from last meeting, including Clerk's report.
Street lighting, PC5 and PC19, which are in Westbrook and Grove End respectively, which have been reported to the maintenance contractor. PC19 has definitely been repaired, so I would think PC5 hasn't been as well. I've also asked the maintenance contractor to look at the condition of PC20 in Maze Road, and I haven't had a response yet. I've had a response from one parishioner regarding the fish that were removed from the ditch. And they confirm that the fish can remain in their new home. I'm still awaiting a response from the second parishioner. The results of the LHI survey have been published on the website and a form created for parishioners to comment on the LHI proposals. It's also been shared on Facebook and in Spectrum, and I've had responses from both of those avenues. I have signed the Memorandum of Understanding for the Health Inequalities Project and returned it to the Project Manager, together with the requested policies. We had an update meeting last week, and there's another update meeting tomorrow. I have spoken with the representatives from the Royal British Legion and confirmed the agreed donation, which they said thank you very much to, and they have requested a payment by cheque. I have submitted the Council's Civility and Respect Pledge to the National Association of Local Councils, and the Council has received a certificate confirming the pledge, and you're also eligible to use the badge, which has been placed on the website. I have received a quote from the District Valuer for his report, which has been sent to the developer in the matter of Man Farm, and the verge near the A14 bridge on the B1040, where there was a recent illegal encampment, has now been double ploughed to attempt to, I won't say prevent, but yeah, reduce the likelihood of further illegal encampments. That's me done.
Now, I know we're not allowed to discuss or anything, but I'm going to ask a question, which is the service of remembrance. Did we receive a notification from the British Legion people when it was going to be? It's going to be Sunday the 6th or Sunday the 13th?
I haven't had a notification. Okay. I'll follow that up.
And could we post that on the website when we know? Because we may or may not have a parish council meeting before it, and members of the parish council are invited to go along to that service.
Can I ask how we find out the information that's been responded to about the LHI proposals?
Well, the deadline for responses is the 14th or 17th, I can't remember off the top of my head. So I'll collate
This month.
This month.
So we get it next Thursday?
Yeah. Oh wait, I'll probably send it to the working group beforehand.
Okay. Right, delegated decisions. Oh, there we don't. Thank you. That's what I was going to say. Thank you. Do we have to vote on accepting it?
No.
No. Okay. There were no items under the scheme of delegation, right? And the Green Open Spaces, verbal report from the Green Open Spaces Working Group. Anything to report, sir? We have a meeting, haven't we? No.
I did get one comment from Ian, very late. It only came in this morning. to say that his intention is to go around the village trimming any low dead branches ahead of winter and taking the trimmers to the bonfire site. Whilst he appreciates this is ahead of the official bonfire building window, it's not something that can be done in a handful of hours. And I had a query regarding the maize, so I've just copied his comment from last month to say that it was roped off to encourage growth during the autumn period ahead of winter, and unfortunately since the re-cutting in the summer, there's been very little growth since, which is why it's roped off currently.
Can it be open for half term, please?
Given how little growth has been on there, I think that would be a decision that needs to be made by the open spaces officer, because we can't risk damage to it.
But we won't have a meeting, so can we delegate that to the
Yeah, the detail of the maintenance contract is already delegated to him in his terms of reference. Ian, he's our open spaces officer. So I can ask, but so it will depend on the needs of the maze rather than the needs of the children, unfortunately.
Right, so we're not going to vote on that as a council. I think we should, as a council, make a decision whether or not we think it should be opened to the public during half term or not. For 1 week only. As there would be children off school, they'd be in the village, and when's half term? A couple of weeks' time?
24th to
Yeah.
20th.
So I think we should take a vote on that.
It's not something that's on the agenda to make a decision on.
But the request is there. We have got a maze there that is currently closed for good reason. It needs to be considered whether we, as a council, like to see that opened.
Is it protected though? Is there some
No, it's
legislation
only protected by us, isn't it?
It's a civil danger monument.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't protect the grass.
Yeah, but the council can only lawfully make decisions on items that are specified on the agenda.
Okay, so you have an option, Heather, to request an extraordinary meeting.
I do. Okay.
But it would have to be held, obviously, there has to be a period of at least 3 clear business days for an agenda to be put out. You have to have 5 councillors' support. I'll support you. All right, so if you want to send an email around asking people if they'd like to.
If you don't need 5 councillors support, you can call an extraordinary.
Oh, I'll call an extraordinary meeting then, please. Can we set one up for next week? Because I think we should vote on that.
Okay.
And I'm a bit disappointed we haven't got the ability as the council to do that. So that would be good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next item on the agenda is to receive the report from the external. Anything else from Green Open Spaces Working Group? Do we have?
No, that's it from under the verbal result.
To receive the report of the external auditor and decide upon any action. So the audit has been done, external, and you've got a certificate saying it's been done, but there are some comments from what I can see. On the basis of our review of sections 1 and 2 of the Annual Governance and Accountability Return, AGAR, in our opinion, the information in sections 1 and 2 of the AGAR is in accordance with proper practices and no matters have come to our attention in the course of concern at relevant legislation. So that's good. And then the next bit says, in the completion of the annual internal audit report and the detailed report, the internal auditor has drawn attention to weaknesses in relation to the asset register not including the insurance value, the frequency of pay slips provided, and the lack of a record of processing activities. This smaller authority must ensure that action is taken to address these areas of weakness in a timely manner.
And we have been. So you've started an asset register review.
Yes, Rob's just
so
done that recently.
you've done benches and street lighting.
Yeah, Robin.
There's the pavilion is left on there to revalue.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's a work in progress. The payable slip issue has been resolved. You've switched to bright pay.
Oh yes, yeah, you had a problem with them coming up every 4 months or something.
Yeah, at one point I received 6 months pay slips in one go, which is illegal. So that's now no longer an issue because payroll's managed in-house. And the third one was record processing activities. You've asked me to go on a GDPR course, which would include how to maintain record processing activities.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just that there are comments there people might ask. And they've been actioned. Anybody got any comments on the external auditor report? The only thing other to add to that is that KF Little John have told us that their 5 years is up,
Yeah,
and they might tender again for it. So the cost of £200 for their audit may go up, may not. We don't
Depends
know.
whether they, even if they tender for it, they may not get it.
Yeah.
Depends what the SPA decides.
So we'll have to wait and see. Any other comments? If not, I would propose that we thank Nicola, and she's going to post it as laid out in the requirements of AGAR. Have a second, Dave?
Received the
Everybody?
external audit report.
Yeah, received, and thank you for doing it and getting it sorted out. Right, Finance Committee. So the Finance Committee had a meeting recently. No, I wasn't at that meeting, I was elsewhere. Kieran, you said?
Yeah.
Would you like to give us a report?
I will. Okay, so there was, first order of businesses was to review various terms and conditions, financial committee terms of reference, financial regulations, fees and charges of the council. These are all in the minutes, there's no point in going through this in too much detail, so I'll just stick to the headlines if you're happy with that. We resolved to move £2,000, which was part in the...
recommend.
Recommend, I beg your pardon. We recommend to move £2,000, which is there for bridge maintenance, back into general reserves in order to improve our percentage of, proportion rather, of general reserves against our expenditure. Then we went on to the budget itself, which took up probably the majority of the time of the meeting. We are faced with some increased costs this year by comparison to last year. The notable ones are we have been enjoying a free maintenance loan for the last 12 months. This will come to an end in the beginning of the financial year. So we have a new amount in the budget to cover that. We have some increases in the payroll. We have, like everybody, we're expecting increases in the utilities. We have gone through the budget line by line and tried to compensate for that, but without us, please tell me if I'm straying here, but we do feel that we, as a parish council, are not going to be able to deliver what we need to deliver unless we look for a reasonably significant increase in the precept. So what the conclusion we came to, firstly, was that we balanced a budget based on an increase of the precept of 9.7%. And that's what we're recommending to the committee to go forward with. So it's, I think it's, all here, it's a sign of the times, costs are going up. We have had a few extra ones put in, which we knew were going to come to us at some point. Significantly, the maintenance person. We have looked at it where we can save costs elsewhere. We've reduced tree work, for instance. But I think, and we've reduced the contributions that go into the reserves of the pavilion maintenance, the paths and benches and street lighting by 50%. We don't think we can go any more than that. So that's what we're recommending to the council to approve, is this increase of 9.7%. There was just to put this into context, I don't know whether John or Rob, you want to jump in here, but there is, if you look at this as based on what other councils are doing at this point, we, even with this increase, with the tax base remaining the same, we are very much average.
And I think there were a couple of other things in line with that. we started off with. Firstly, it was the state of our reserves, which are just over half what they should be for a, give or take, community of our size. So that was also very significant in our thought process, the responsibility and the good fiscal policy to try and maintain those 6 months operating costs. As Kieran says, when we view on the latest available data, accepting no one knows what the current budget will do to the league of parishes and precepts, we were basically in the lower half for our size. Correct me, Clark, if my terminology goes awry. We're in the lower half of equivalent parishes in terms of the precept. So we have been representing very good value and quite conservative management. And that was also supported by the fact that for the previous 2 years we had not had an increase in the precept. As far as 1 year, I did 1 year. So we hadn't done that last year. So yeah, I think that was sort of the framing of our conversations, but I concur with everything.
Yeah,
So
I agree. Just to give you the basic numbers then, so this year the precept was 3,350. That will go up with this percentage increase to 36,656, which represents a £3,056 increase.
Sorry, Kieran, those numbers aren't correct.
Oh, sorry.
31,550.
I'm sorry?
34,600.
Yeah, because you've got time out money.
I don't know.
That's your precept.
Can we just give the numbers again? Just to be
So
clear.
your precept this financial year is 31,550, and your precept amount next year will be 34,606. The bold numbers at the bottom of your total income.
Because you include the firework.
Including the firework, yeah.
And can you just explain the band D bit? That line?
So the way council tax comparisons are done, your tax base is the equivalent number of Band D properties in the parish. So our tax base this financial year was 455, which is fairly constant. We had 1 year where it dipped. Band D, this tax base is, so it's equivalent number. So if you've got a lot more, so Band D, F, G, that's going to increase your Band D number of properties. But your Band D, your tax base can also be reduced by people who claim council tax benefit. So it's quite a complicated calculation to get you to that tax base. So then your comparator is your precept over your tax base. So if the tax base remains the same, your Band D cost, which is the sort of standard cost, if you like, per household, that's what's going to go on the council tax bill for a Band D property. Obviously it will vary, because obviously not everyone's Band D. But currently, in this financial year, our Band D cost was £69.34. The average for the UK was £77.21, off my head. So that will increase the Band D cost, assuming the tax base stays the same. So there is the potential, especially given the current climate, that more people end up paying council tax benefit, which means our tax base will actually decrease. And so then that would increase the Band D percentage.
If you
The
took
new payment
400
should be £76, so we're talking about the £7 difference
Per
per household.
Per household.
Per year.
It's
on
14p a
precept.
week, 13p a week.
Yeah.
30
Per household,
Band
for
D.
455 households.
That's
If you're a Band
Yeah.
A property, you're going to pay a lot less. If you're a Band G, then you're going to pay a lot more.
So the average, 455 properties, is 13p a week.
Yeah, whilst 9.7 sounds like a lot, it's actually £7.
Any questions to the Finance Committee? Bridge replacement reserve is currently standing at £4,000. Any reason why you didn't propose it? Don't want to propose that the whole £4,000 is transferred into general reserve?
We just felt we were being prudent to just keep some amount of money there. The reason why we're considering this is we've been told by the authority that they will step in and renovate the current bridge that needs repair.
Four. bridges. They're going to do some work
And they're going to do
to
it
replace the deck and the piers like for like.
right for right. And that's the thing we were always worried about, that we would get some utilitarian kind of solution. Which
Yes.
is
The only thing they said that they will add will be non-slip surface on the decking.
so we've got a level of comfort for the time being, but it just seemed prudent to keep
Yeah.
some money there. But we are not adding to it this year. Or sorry, we are proposing we don't add
Yeah.
any more to it this year.
Yeah, and I see that as you were saying, the contributions to any of the reserves like street lighting replacement, playground maintenance have all been halved to try and find some flex. And you've included the local highways bid, money of £757, which was our proposed contribution for that particular bid, because that's the one that will come up in the next year. And I guess if you're thinking ahead, you'd say, you'd put a little warning out there that if the LHI bid is successful, or is put forward and is proved to be successful, that precept will have to go up quite a bit
Well,
more.
in the following financial
Yeah,
year.
in the following financial year to meet the new signposts and the raised platform. One, I guess.
Yeah, that would be, but that would be in the following years, I think.
Yeah. And also, of course, the maintenance contract may require a boost, mightn't it? I think the current contract is a 2-year deal.
One of them is a 2-year deal, the other one is a 1-year deal, which is why there's a small increase
Oh yeah, yeah.
in the maintenance contract, because it's the smaller part of the maintenance contract. It was only a 1-year contract.
And tree work we've just brought down a little bit, and ditches and drains are included in the maintenance contract,
Yes.
because it used to be a separate amount, didn't it? And I continue to look at this and think, there's just no leeway, is there?
And the classic example of that was the very worthwhile request for batteries for the speed devices. Not budgeted at the last meeting, something the community needed.
Yeah.
So it comes out of reserves, and this was the sort of cycle we were in for the meeting.
It's very difficult, isn't it? Because there isn't.
I mean, I'd also point out that we've estimated that the sort of utility costs will go up 42%.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably quite a big underestimate.
Yeah. Could well be, couldn't it?
The other thing to consider with that utility cost is that during this financial year that we're discussing, the fixed contract with Opus ends in November. So partway through that financial year, you're going to be renegotiating for a new contract, and goodness knows what. It's a slightly different one in the fact that it's an unmetered supply. So it restricts the number of options in terms of provider. Because not all providers will give you an unmetered supply.
So, yeah. Any other comments from the
I think
council?
we've done a good job on what's a really difficult situation, actually.
Just goes to show how little this is a budget for anything other than paying Nicola, maintaining the green, lighting the village, and insuring. And that's it, isn't it? Really. No other money. Anyway, so there's a proposal. Oh, sorry, Kieran.
Yeah, so the proposal is that this draft project be accepted and approved. The next item is that we agree the increase in the presets.
Do you want a third vote on the £2,000? It's not on the agenda then. Can't vote on it.
meeting for that.
We can't vote
And consider any action. But I haven't, so if you would like to carry that one forward.
on it. That one will have to be carried forward, I believe, in accordance with what we've learned this evening.
Is there a way around both of these things?
I don't know.
I can put it on a future meeting.
Can we do it at the expense extraordinary meeting next week.
Yes.
We could add it
We're
on.
going to have a few things to do on that meeting, I think.
Right, so the first thing then will be to receive the report from the Finance Committee. Do we want to vote that that's been received? And agreed?
Basic.
I'll second that. That's all councillors have agreed to that, and to review and approve the draft budget for 2023-2024. Okay, proposed by Paul. Sorry, I'm putting words into your mouth.
Shall I propose that then?
I'm going to shut up. I'm going to shut up.
I'll propose that then.
John seconded it, and everybody's favoured it.
And I'll also propose the increase in precinct.
Emma seconded it, and everybody is in favour. And we should make sure that we make a comment that it's 13 feet on average.
Thank you for the support on that.
Thank you for doing that, guys. I'm sorry I couldn't be at the meeting. It was nice that you had a meeting and you came out with an answer. Brilliant. Tough one, that. Very tough, because I did sit there for a long time thinking, how can we get this down? The only one I came up with was cut your house.
What don't you want done?
Exactly. Next item is gritting scheme. Would you like to do this one, Clerk?
Yeah, so it's the standard annual request for volunteers for the gritting scheme. Basically, this normal action of the council is to advertise this information on the website and Facebook and direct any volunteers to the county council where you can register.
Thank you. And that'll go up on go up on Facebook and on the website. And it's Spectrum. Is there a time for it to go to Spectrum?
Yes, I think so. 31st of October is for the parish councils looking to join the scheme.
Oh, right, we're already
So,
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're sticking with Spectrum, actually. What have we done the next one?
Would you like to vote on that?
What would you like us to vote on?
To advertise the request for volunteers on?
I propose that we resolve to advertise the winter gritting scheme on our social media and Spectrum outlets. Rob seconded that. Everybody's in favour. Deja vu, we've done that one. Right, number 139, to consider whether to archive the Hilton condolence booklet. Second, with Cambridgeshire County Council's archives. There was a little note here saying they've offered to store books on our behalf. Is that their archives place? And have we done that in the past? Did we do that with the last book of condolence?
No, because it was online.
Okay. And do we have a physical book of condolence?
Physical book of condolence.
Sounds like a good idea, this.
My front room is not ivory.
Yeah.
Is our current one loose leaf?
Yeah.
So can we not just send the loose leaf pages to Cambridgeshire and then we can keep the book?
Yeah, we
With
can
future
save us
pages.
buying another one.
It does have a front sheet that
Yeah.
says this book of condolences for. I don't know whether you can buy that bit or whether you
We
can
could
only
make
buy
one.
the loose leaf.
Certainly the ones.
Our resident artist could make this
Yeah.
one.
I was going to propose that we kept the same book anyway. I think it would be a very.
We don't need to spend 30 quid on a new book, is what I think.
No, so very few pages were covered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and that one also covers, so the vote we're going to have covers both, I think.
It's two separate votes.
We could do it as two separate votes if you like. We're going to have a vote that we are happy to send the pages of the Book of Condolence to Cambridgeshire County Council Archives. Yeah, seconded, supported. First hand up I saw was Heather's. And the next one is that we're going to vote that we don't want to buy a new book, that we'll use the existing book. Yes, Seconded, you don't put down who seconded
No,
it.
but you have to have a
There were
Consistent
six
with our budget
seconders.
restrictions.
Yes.
There were 6 seconders there.
That's good.
You can choose. I don't know who was handing that first. Hands were edging up during the middle of me talking. Right now, what about this one? How good is this, I thought? We've got this, we've got the grant, and it's going to be done.
Hooray.
Yeah, so this is dredging 5 ponds,
I could hardly believe it.
£31,500 grant.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Ding dong, as they might say. And it's going to be done, provided we sign, of course, soon.
Yeah, he said end of October, beginning of November, but that was a couple of weeks ago. I wouldn't be
Okay.
surprised if that diary slot has moved back accordingly.
The only worry I had was Schedule 1, the project, dredging of the following ponds, since the removal of said dredge.
No, said dredge is going to have to go on the back of the wilderness. It's not going to be removed.
Really?
It's what happened, it's apparently what happened last time the dredging was done.
I thought we were told we couldn't dump this stuff, that it was toxic.
In order to, no, when we looked at this, in order to, if you want them to take it away, the quote's going to go up to about £200,000.
Now, I thought we were told every meeting I've been at, we were told that the stuff can't be just taken out and dumped because it's toxic.
Well, we've been told by the dredging contractor that it's ever so good for spreading on farmland and to find a local farmer that wants it. No farmer wants it because of the, but not from the toxic point of view, from the point of view that it may have litter in it and they don't want to spread that on their fields.
But you don't want to spread it on the wilderness because that's...
We're not talking about spreading it, we're just talking about piling it up at the back as a...
Back where, please?
Yeah.
Back where?
Where, in the corner,
The hardcore is there.
where the hardcore was.
So what's happening with the hardcore?
It's not our hardcore. I thought that was going down, that hardcore part.
Does that not belong to one farm?
It does.
Some of it does, or they use some of it.
So that
You
would be
mean on the
that
side of the
top
track,
corner.
on the right?
But we're talking about a lot of material.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But
Quite a
there's,
mountain.
this is the only option, there's no farmer that wants it.
Because there is another option.
There is your other options. But there is not the function within the grant to take the material away.
Can I ask about the report regarding toxins? What is the toxicology report? Who did it? What are we talking about?
It's mostly hearsay, but it's based on the potential for fertiliser within the high levels of fertiliser within the dredged material.
So leaching off the fields.
Yeah.
So nitrates.
Yeah, it drains in there and they don't want to put that on.
Have we not got some expert opinion in the village to check on this? And Roland is an ecologist. We have a conservation officer here. Can we not get some definitive scientific answer to this before we just dump it on the wilderness?
So this is just what was done last time the dredging was done.
When you said
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't the wilderness?
Sorry,
Oh, hang
somebody
on.
said
No, it's never been dumped in the wilderness.
Oh, well, that's
Where was it
not the
then?
It was
conversation
taken
we're
away.
having in.
In lorries, in trucks, because it was all over Gravely Way when they were trying to take it away. And when they did the pond in front of my house, the tractors were on the road.
Okay.
Right, okay.
So it sounds like the grant is actually the easy bit. It's the
The removal of the material, as I say, the original suggestion from both the riparian team at the county and the dredging contractor was to find a farmer that would want for their fields.
Why did you say it was expensive to move it?
They gave me a per load cost.
What
And I
Peter
think,
Burton lose it somewhere on his land?
to be fair, I haven't had a response from Glastonbury Services as to whether they'd like it or not.
I'm intrigued because the price of nitrogen fertiliser has rocketed, and if there's no other toxin in it, then that is in prill form, that's exactly what farmers spread on arable land.
The other thing is, Muckaway at the moment is about £1,500 20 tonnes. So
It's full of wood. It's full of wood as well.
Wood.
Yeah, all the bits off the trees and so forth. You can't just
So,
spread that on the land.
The budget cost, so I did ask the dredging contractor for cost out disposing of the silt. It's £1,900 per load. The estimate for how many loads is 234 loads to go over all the ponds. So it's over 400k to remove the dredge.
I still go back to the point that at the beginning, when we went into this, we were told that we could not dredge these ponds unless the stuff that was in it was taken away. And this is the first I've heard, certainly, that it's going to be dumped on the fields.
well, this amount of volume, you won't be able to get past the wilderness that you remember.
But it's not what we were led to believe when the grant was applied for,
No.
I believe. But I would say, I would say that I was under the impression that the ponds were going to be dredged and the stuff was going to be taken away and that was going to be within this grant.
No, that's not what's costed out in the grant.
But we haven't seen that costing. I would suggest.
What do the Environment Agency do with the stuff they dredge out? I mean, I know you have to leave it on the side for a while for stuff that lives in it to go back into the watercourse, but what do they do with the dredging? They don't just leave it there, do they?
Well, when farmers dig the spreadsheets, they just put it onto the edges, onto the margins, and they get scuffed in next time it gets cultivated.
Chicken the muck spread.
But just this volume intriguing me. You're saying
I think that sounds
£400,000.
excessive.
Yeah, for 234 loads.
Well, it's area by depth, isn't it? A little bit for bulking up, I suppose, when it comes out.
Each load is
How big's a load?
Yeah,
You know, how big's a load?
yeah. How big? It's like how long's a piece of
But
string,
if it's
isn't
going
it?
to cost £400,000 to take it away, how's it going to cost to dump it up there? Because there's still a load,
You're still going to move it
but
somewhere.
that's a.
and how much
so
damage
that's-
will be caused
That's
to the
within
wilderness?
the quote is to dispose of it on a local field.
Just looking at, if the load is 20 tonnes, which it would be, then the £900 is more or less what we're paying for Muckaway from our side. Then it's 200 tonnes. We can't put that on the wilderness.
No.
It'd be huge.
It's got to go somewhere.
One load is the amount of compost that we had to lift to the
Yeah, that was
community garden.
14
That was
tonnes of compost,
huge.
and it was huge, the pile it made.
It'll be a lot less dense as well. So it'll be
That's true.
You can't block the footpath.
You can't block the footpath, do you? There isn't. You can't put that amount on wilderness. Or where that hardcore is or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody will be able to get in and out the fields or up the track. They won't be able to do anything.
Yeah, I
The
would say
hardcore is very
on the
useful, isn't
hardcore bit,
It's very
you'd
useful.
fit a maximum of 4 loads, looking at
Yeah.
the size of the compost we had delivered.
It's a
I mean, how deep are they dredging?
2 foot, I think, was, I'd have to find the original quote. I think we were looking at 2 foot across all the ponds.
How necessary is the dredging? I'm sorry, because I wasn't part of the original discussion about having the ponds dredged. Have we had discussions about whether it's necessary? Or are we just responding to a grant that was offered to us?
We used to
And
dredge.
we took the opportunity, because the grant was offered, of doing something. I don't know what the discussion was beforehand.
So there were concerns raised around the village at the fact that the ponds hadn't been dredged for a number of years. And that when there had been flooding, it was partly down to blocked culverts. So there was, this grant was advertised by the local council and but not necessarily under the terms that all of us may have thought, because we thought, certainly, as I say, I, for one, believed that we could only do this if the stuff was taken away, and that's what had stopped us from doing it, or saying to people, get in there and dig it out, because we were told that some had to be taken away.
Is it possible to do just say one or two of the ponds and have the stuff from them taken away as part of that grant, rather than trying to do all of them and then do them in a rotating basis? I mean, when we had wildlife ponds at Anglian Water, we used to only dredge part, and then you're not disturbing part, but you know, areas where there was something, we might take it out of there and then do that, do it in a sort of rotation. And the advantage of that from a wildlife point of view is you're not disturbing the whole habitat. There's places of refuge while you're dealing with like the problem areas, as it were.
If you took up Nina's suggestion, which would be the
Priority.
that you would put as a priority, and
Because you
may
might
I
have
propose
to-
that we have more time to consider this grant? Or is there a closing date that's coming up?
I don't think there's a closing date. Obviously, it's one that has knocked on for some time, but I don't think that
31st of March.
there are.
2023.
So we have some
We
time.
have some time. Right.
What I was thinking was you could just do the worst one, and maybe the taking away would be included within that grant, rather than doing all of them. Or is there an opportunity to apply for one next year and do another pond and do the same thing? And that way you're not worrying about volume, because it's less volume, and you're rotating, but you're still clearing over, say, a 3-year rotation period
And you
of
could
ponds.
even consider putting someone to witness if it wasn't such a great plan.
Exactly.
Just,
It was only a thought.
There is one place, Mr. Chairman, which could be a possibility, where Mr. Randall used to have his muck heap in the field at the top end. Now, would he allow you to put it in there?
I don't know.
Well, I
Yes.
just posed the question.
Yeah, thank you, John. Thank you.
It was my,
the,
Yeah.
you know, you have that concrete basis.
the work was going to include installation of a silt filter to stop it happening again, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the cost to empty that was 1,800.
Correct.
Licence to print money, isn't it?
So
So that's
that
the 2
include removal?
metres. No, so that's 2 metres, that's just excavating that 2 by 2 by 2 silt sump.
So that's just digging it.
It's just digging
Out
a
to
really
build
big
a
hole.
2 metres by 2 metres by 2
Yeah.
metres. So one load effectively.
And then that would need to be redug at least
Minimum 2 years, it says. So it's
possibly much longer.
Should the Green Open Spaces Working Group be working on this and coming to some resolution, reporting that to council?
Yeah, they
Thank
can't
you.
make any decisions,
No, but they can
but
They
they
report
can.
back to
take it
council.
apart and come back to it, because if you're talking about the possibility of splitting it over a number of years, I don't know at this stage whether the grants are available. This was a one-off that came up, wasn't it?
I think this was a grant that was in response to the 2020 floods.
Yeah, across Cambridgeshire, and we were able to get some money out of it, but I think we definitely need to have a look at the
And to
implications
contact
of
more of the
the
local
waste.
farmers,
Yeah,
because the farmers would take it, so it's a start to get to some of the local farms and just to get onto the
And I
measures.
repeat that I think Roland Randall is an ecologist, would give us some very sensible and helpful advice.
thank you.
I seem to remember when we were looking at the banking of the weir, the question came up, can we not dredge and backfill behind the new extensions? And that's
That
what
was
was.
part of the Reed Ditch, and it was National Highways that said that that would not be a suitable material
Yeah.
to build a footpath out of, basically.
Well, that was because it was for some risk of toxins.
It was the risk of toxin, or the risk of fertiliser concentrate build-up, but also it was about the stability of the material, because it would subside, basically. And because it would be fine still, it wouldn't be safe to walk on.
Right, so review of draft agreement. So I'm going to propose that the open spaces group would have a meeting, discuss this in a little bit more depth, look at other sources of expert opinion, and report back to the next parish council meeting. Thank you. All in favour? Yeah. Because that is a surprise. The next item on the agenda is the bonfire night. We do have people. Please, would you like to report to us?
We met this morning
Excellent.
and we have resolved and required lots of information, but we have a few significant vacancies. So if anybody here would like to be a firelighter, we'd be delighted to hear, and we'd also like some help with marshalling and collecting money at the gate. But we have been in touch with the farmer, and he's going to come on the day and move the bonfire, build it up. He's also providing some straw for us to help with the, to help with the noise lighting, not just because we need straw. We have asked Beast Week to provide the signs for it, and they will be updated. We have got a first aider, Sharon Walker, who has very kindly offered to do that. And yes, it's Mike Richards, we've got his name. So we have covered various bases. There are just a few more things to consider. And I think if I've forgotten anything.
No, Sharon's bringing her first
She's
aid
bringing her
kit,
first aid kit.
and she's also happy to help on the gate. But we need people to help on the gate. Claire and I are going to be there when people bring stuff in the morning, and also Liz will pick the day after to clear up. But we need more marshals. We need somebody to stand at the end of Rad Road to stop cars coming up. We definitely need people on the gate.
Yeah, so
And
we'd be
we
very
also
happy
need-
at the end of this meeting to take volunteers for any of those things. Would that be all right?
Or if we can have anybody volunteering now, that would be even better.
I'd say about time to consider.
We'll need a float of money. Don't forget that one.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Float.
For your change.
But we are having 2 card readers.
Oh, very nifty. I'm available on the 5th of November, so I'll be down helping collecting money or standing
All
at the
right,
end of
so
the
we'll
road.
put you
or
down
whatever.
for the gate then.
Yeah, either that or at the end of the road, I'm quite happy.
I'll do some as well,
You'll go on the gate, won't you? Rob?
whatever.
And
How do you feel like lighting the thing?
I can do anything.
There you go.
done.
First thing in the morning and the
Firelighter.
next day as well,
Brill.
for tidying up.
Excellent.
And I'll tell you.
Away.
You're
Excellent.
away.
Don't know yet, might be away. So if I'm there, I'll be there.
Good enough.
You haven't got your excuse
Yeah,
for
you
me.
need some paraffin.
You haven't got your excuse for me.
Paraffin as the accelerant. We also need to borrow rakes from your shed to pull stuff
I
into the
suggest you use
bonfire.
diesel instead.
Oh, I was told by Graham, who I thought was an expert, that paraffin was best. Do you think diesel? You need to confer with
I
him
can't-
about the
can't
best
now.
way of...
Disagree with Graham.
Can I just ask about the firework committee itself? Because they're obviously dealing with incendiary matters.
Yes.
Do they have some expertise in lighting?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, the firework committee have all been on training courses, and they've done it for some time.
I've tried to meet with them, and it's not yet come to fruition. So I will try for a third time to get that arranged.
Neil's done it 5 years after. Did he take it on after you stopped?
After us,
Yeah, and that was many years ago.
at least 5 years.
Yeah, at least, if not more. So yes, they have.
We had a debate last year, and I can't remember why or what the outcome was, about people delivering their garden refuse to the bonfire.
Saturday morning.
Yeah,
Till 1 o'clock.
9 till 1.
And the debate was whether they should be or not, and I can't remember why.
I think if it's very wet...
Was it green?
You don't want big bags of leaves, basically.
No,
you just
none of
want
that.
combustible stuff.
If
You
someone comes with a load of cupresses cuttings.
No, you just say we're not having it.
So the debate went along the lines of, we all got green bins, why are we encouraging people? I can't remember what the outcome was.
We just want some wood, really.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
You want some stuff. Yeah, people do use their green bins, and they should be put in there.
Yeah, but a lot
Put
of
their
people
leaves in
time
there.
the cutting back of things to put it on the bonfire, or they give you an old fence
As
panel.
long as it's okay.
Were you
Don't
considering giving some advice on what they should be bringing? Is that what your discussion was about, do you think? That somewhere or other was published what we would like to have on the bonfire?
I think it was just garden
General
refuge,
guidance?
not Not what they must
Not
do.
your beds, yes.
Yeah.
That's
Because
all.
some things when they burn, they release sort of toxic fumes, don't they? So we can't have
Formaldehyde.
foam.
So
Right,
yeah, you can't have furniture,
No.
So we
except if it's wooden.
So it needs to be policed. People need to
Well, we'll be there, won't we?
Saturday
Any
morning.
evils.
On Saturday morning, if you want to put out a timetable with hourly slots
Yeah,
to
we-
people, then people like me will say, oh, I've come along on that one. So you
Brilliant.
don't do it all amongst yourselves. Brilliant.
No, we're going to do that. We just wanted to get an idea of some of the people, so we could put some in advance.
Good. Thank you. So it's all going tickety-boo then?
Well, it's going. That's the one part.
started.
Yeah, exactly.
Any questions from anybody?
Do you think the Feast Week committee would be able to put on more food this year, because it all ran out last year?
Very
Let's do that under
difficult,
number 143.
Oh,
Very
I was going
difficult bit of balancing.
quick thing on the last bit was, do we have any litter picking
Yes.
Yes, we do.
things? And
We do.
also high-vis jackets, where would we get them?
Bring your own.
Oh right, I've only got one with air crew on, does that matter?
Doesn't matter.
Fine.
Please bring your own and don't
Right, that's
leave
fine.
it. Take
Just
it home with
checking.
you.
That's all right
And
then. And you're
torches.
going to, the signs, yes, right, okay. But the actual signs to put them on?
Yeah, I'll be in the barn on Saturday. Put them out.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Right, the next item on the agenda is to consider the request from Hilton Feast Week CRC, Community Interest Company, for permission to run their usual food and drink stall. Rock glass. Food, but of course it is. And last year was exceptionally busy, wasn't it? Busiest one we've seen. Along with the sale of novelty items. I believe these are
What are the novelty items?
Flash, light up toys mostly.
Oh right,
Flashing headbands.
oh right, cones, yeah.
Yes. Which I'd like to sound to people as they make their way towards
Behave yourself.
the entrance in order to reduce the length of queue at the stall. So, any questions? I'm quite happy to say, because it's great, isn't it?
Fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Thank you. That's everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
The next item on the agenda is to consider the request from Hilton Feast Week CRC for permission to hold Feast Week from Sunday the 23rd of July to Saturday the 29th of July. And note that the Feast Week committee would arrange for the marquee to be erected on Monday the 24th of July for 1 week only. Monday to Monday, I guess that means. And, oh, okay, so they might, if the ball want to have a ball, they may come along and say they want to put it up a couple of days early.
Well, it'll probably be a week early.
Yeah.
By the time they actually, if you pay for the second weekend, they'll come and install it on Monday, so it'll be up for its standard 2 weeks then. With the cost, we can't afford to pay for it, can we?
Okay. So that's a request for the marquee to go up on the 24th of July for 1 week only. And for Feast Week to take place, of course.
So there will still be events on the Sunday, even though there's no market. That's the intention.
So what's going to happen on Sunday, and when's the produce show going to be?
It will be the same as this year, so
On the Saturday?
the produce show will be on the Saturday.
And it's on board this year?
We don't know, because obviously we don't run the ball, that was a separate committee that runs the ball.
It's very important for the produce show to know if there's a ball the night before. Because if there's a ball the night before, we can't do it.
You've got a whole week, so if the ball will be the Friday, then it'll be sports day on the Sunday. You've got until the next Saturday to get over the hangover.
It's just that here it says from Sunday the 23rd to Saturday the 29th, you see, so
Yeah,
through
so-
the Sunday.
So the produce show will be on Saturday the 29th of July.
I understand.
If you
And
read the second
if
half
there
of the
is a
paragraph
ball,
there,
it would be on Friday
Might
the
be directed on Monday the
21st.
24th of July for 1 week. It's just,
the next.
So Claire, if they want a ball, it would be, the marquee would go up another week earlier. So it wouldn't affect produce show.
that's
No, I
how
mean,
just
you
check
have
it
it on the Sunday, the produce show, but on the Monday, there's nothing in it, is there? So you could have a ball on Monday.
We've swapped the ends from Sports Day and the Produce Show swapped ends. So Sports Day happened on the Sunday, Produce Show on the last Saturday, which worked quite nicely with the village tea.
But what I'm just saying is, if the ball committee wants to use it on a Monday, it'd be up already, and they could do the ball in there, because there's nothing actually happening in the market.
Yes, there is Monday. All the staging goes up, doesn't it? Lots
There's
of
quite a
people
lot of setup.
working around, putting staging up in the bar up Monday, Tuesday night, ready for stuff to start on Wednesday. From when I was on
Yeah.
this week.
It takes a good couple of days just to set the marquee up. There's quite a lot that has to be moved.
But anyway, that'll be for the individual parties concerned to sort out.
Yep.
Our request, the request of the Parish Council is for the marquee to go up from 24th of July for 1 week, but Feast Week to take place from the 23rd of July to Saturday the 29th of July. And I propose that we agree to that. All those in favour? Yep. Next item on the agenda, to consider the proposal to place an outdoor outdoor table tennis table on the green, close to the cricket field. Please note that this will be subject to a Section 38 application in accordance with the Common Land Act 2006. Heather, this is your request. Would you like to discuss it, please?
So, when I was on the parish planning group, various things were suggested, including activities for youngsters, more sporting opportunities, and specifically an activity for a table tennis table. So I've been doing a little bit of work to see what we can do about that. Given that we have sports on the green on Friday evenings, those are really popular, and the idea of communities coming together and doing activities together is to be applauded. So I looked at the table tennis tables. The outdoor ones that are used in lots of open spaces are like the one from Cornlow, which costs about £2,000. And there are various ways of fixing it, either with the anchors or with a sand-filled base. There's possibilities to mitigate that against the grass being worn as well by using the safety deck stuff that you can see in the photographs. Allows grass to grow through, so it isn't a muddy area. And there are 3 possible funding opportunities which are available to us, either a lottery fund, a Sport England fund, or we could use the recent Health Inequalities bid that we talked about in the last meeting. And those grants are up to £10,000. So my proposal is to apply for a grant to see if we're successful to get a table tennis table, and concurrently with that to look at the requirements of how we use the green and how to get the Secretary of State to pass the S38, which I know involves consultation with various people about that. When Nicola sent me the S38 agreement, I then looked at the Act in a great deal of detail, and it says that you can't do things on the green which have an effect of preventing or impeding access over the land. Now, a table tennis table, you could argue, isn't actually impeding access to any area, apart from the area underneath the green, where sheep could go under it to graze if they wanted. But it also says in section 43 that there is a power to exempt. And the power to exempt actually says use of land by members of the public for the purposes of open air recreation, pursuant to any rights of access. So I think there's a possibility that you could.
Have you read the guidance notes?
I have.
Because that specifically says that power to exempt, when you're talking about recreation, there's a specific exclusion to that, which is permanent structures.
Right, so is a table tennis table a permanent structure, or could we say it's there for 5 years?
If it's concreted in, then I would say it is.
Well, we don't have to concrete it in.
Yeah,
So you can put these sand bases on the table tennis table, so it's not.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Yes.
I think it's a great idea to have a table tennis table. I like table tennis, but I would like to know why it's not being considered to put it in the sports pavilion. We've got a sports pavilion which we're not really using, and I think a folding table in there, you could just put it out when you want it. It's all weather, you could use it all year round, you could even, and it'd be a lot cheaper than the ones outside, you could buy a folding one.
Who put it out?
Yeah, who's going to put it out? You're going to be there every day.
Don't say I'm going to be there every
I
day.
know Rob and I have trouble getting there every Friday evening to get the stuff out of the pavilion.
I'm not, I'll come back to that. Actually, it's a good point, I'll come back to it. But what I'm saying is, we've got a sports pavilion. Why aren't we being more ambitious and using the sports pavilion for what it's for, which is sport? I mean, we could have a darts table, you could have a pool.
But that's why
You
we want
could
the table
have-
tennis table by the sports pavilion.
But why are we
to
not
make it the
having...
centre of the...
But why does it have to be outside when you've got a sports semi-out? Because they're not particularly scenic, but I don't think, and also I think a permanent structure, where do you stop? Once you start putting permanent structures out on the green, you're opening a can of worms for people to put more permanent things on. And I'm not saying that's not a good thing or a bad thing, but it's something that makes people nervous. And I just think, if you had one inside, you've got an all-weather facility then, and we're not using the sports pavilion much, and it is for sport. I'm not saying don't have I'm not throwing cold water on it, I'm just asking why we're not considering using the inside of a facility we've already got and making that better, because then you could use it throughout the year. And I would also be very happy, as a former teacher who's done all the safeguarding and what have you, I'd be happy to man a youth evening in there, you know, once a week, where you have people playing darts and pool and what have you. And I just think that way you don't have something which I don't think is very sort of slightly outside, and you avoid the issue of having to apply for this S38 thing.
What is the status with the sports
And it'd be
pavilion?
cheaper.
What is the status with the sports pavilion?
Mm.
It was mentioned briefly at a meeting as a sort of unresolved issue. I remember there being some discussion about improving it. I don't think it has any heating in it, and I think there's quite a lot of interior redesigning to be done to make it a functioning space for such activities. Am I wrong? I really don't know. It would be
No, I don't know either, but I just thought
I would
it'd be nice
agree
to use the building.
with Nina in that it seems a wasted resource.
Yeah.
It is a wasted resource. There are some discussions which have, they haven't gone anywhere recently for other reasons, about looking at what could be done with it to perhaps modernise it inside, and that pavilion working group needs to meet and to discuss. I think that Nina's idea that you've got this thing that you can put away, because
You
it
could
can
have
come
it in
outside,
here.
you could, and you can put it away, is excellent. And we, you know, if you're going to have bats and things which are locked in the pavilion anyway, why don't you have the table in the pavilion?
Well,
and you
that's
can bring it out?
going to be my next point.
Yeah.
You've got to go in there to get the bats and balls. Why don't you
And it
just
doesn't matter, it
play
hasn't got
them?
any heating, because you're proposing it's outside. Well, I don't think there's any heating outside either.
So the ones in Cambridge that operate, there's several in several parklands around there, including on Christ Pieces, on Parker's Piece, all the rest, about 3 or 4 together. People always take their own bats and balls. I'm just saying on Friday night you could have a supply that are there for people
Oh
to
yeah,
take
I'm good.
over.
I'm not
Not
putting
to
cold
go in-
water on it,
Not to
but
go in
I'm
the whole
just
time.
trying to understand why to, you know, you could have it in there and you could either use it in, if you had a folding one, you've got the option then, if the weather's bad, you can use it indoors, and if the weather's good, you can use it outdoors. And then you don't have to worry about applying for this. It's not a permanent structure. You don't have that issue with some people about it being an eyesore, and everybody's happy.
I don't think the space inside.
And it's cheaper.
I don't think the space inside the building is big enough to play table tennis with.
Well, I think it is.
It is.
It's also got a real great advantage in that there's no wind. Playing table tennis with wind.
And you don't lose the balls because they just bounce off the wall.
Actually, that's a good point about the balls.
Yeah.
So table tennis balls are 40 millimetres diameter. Anything less than 44 millimetres is considered a choke hazard. So it's going to, you can just see what's going to happen. It's not going to be released all the time. It's going to be plastic balls all over the place potentially, and it's a parish council amenity which we've installed. So the kind of a worrying.
So how do Cambridgeshire
I don't know,
Council?
they must have some kind of,
There must be ways around.
So,
fundamental one is, which we touched on, is at the moment the green is unspoiled other than for some park benches. There's not a lot of man-made structures, there's the bridges which are quite tastefully done. We potentially could be opening the floodgates to a lot of other apparatus suddenly appearing on the green. And we got quite a clear answer when we did the trim trail survey, that the village don't really want the green to be. We asked the question, would you like to have the green remain as it is? And it was, majority of people said yes.
The Trimshire survey was a 48% 52, so it had a Brexit vote. And we
62,
didn't,
38.
We've still got Brexit though, haven't we?
and we didn't specify whether it's per
So-
person or per household.
can I suggest first of all then, that we have a vote about the table tennis? Because that's going to take it one way or another, isn't it?
Are we
What I
not
was going to
voting on,
suggest-
are we not voting on whether Heather should apply for a grant? There's no way we're going to get the table tennis table without some money, because we simply can't afford it.
But that's not what it says here.
I'm suggesting a
Place.
compromise.
I-
Do it, we're
Well,
voting
if-
to place
if the
the
vote
table
is-
tennis table on the green, that's what we're considering. Is that all
Well,
right?
Can't do wrong with that.
To consider the proposal to
I think the
place
proposal
outdoor
is,
table tennis
is
on the
ahead of
table
the
on the green
actual reality.
is
can't do
what
it
you
on
can
it.
vote on, because that is what is on the agenda, as we learned earlier this evening. You can only vote on what is on the agenda, which is to consider the proposal to place an outdoor table tennis table on the green close to the cricket pavilion.
But my paper, which I wrote in, was that the proposal is to approve placing the table in and to obtain quotes and seek funding for table and equipment. And that hasn't appeared on the agenda.
No, but it's in the supporting, it's in the
It's supporting
supporting
document.
document.
I'm afraid it does have to be on the agenda, so I've just taken the information that's on the email, not from the document itself. Sorry, that's my
But
omission.
I'm just still not quite clear why we're dismissing the idea of a folding table that you then could use inside if it's not good weather and outside, and then it doesn't have to be outside all the time.
So, as the proposal at the moment, because it's on the supporting documents, I'm assuming that we can stick with the and seek funding for table and equipment, because that deadline is coming up.
Well,
The-
whichever way we vote on the motions put in front of us, it depends whether that's necessary or not.
And if we're going to have an extraordinary meeting next week, it'll go on there, can't it?
Well, can I suggest that we delay it so that the motions go on the extraordinary general meeting properly in a week's time, because otherwise we'll have voted on something we can't then discuss it again for 6 months.
That's not correct, to deny it.
Good idea.
So
second
I
that.
propose that this motion is delayed until the extraordinary general meeting,
Meeting.
it's going to happen next week.
Yes.
But what will we
For the full proposal to be put before us, and then we'll take a vote.
And this is, I don't,
On the
I'm
agenda.
speaking out of turn here, but could we at some stage discuss the sports pavilion? Because I know it would take time and resources, but it surely is something that the parish council could be seen to be making progress on.
So Claire, absolutely right, the pavilion has drifted. But quite a lot of work has been done with the Game Plan Commission and that kind of thing. So it'll be on the agenda as long as.
There's item 148 on this agenda, which is about the pavilion, still to come.
I think some of the people in the audience there want to add something. Did you put your hand up?
No, it's all right. I was moving the camera around there. Sorry, I was needing that.
Oh, right.
Making
okay.
sure I've got you all in
Vote to
shot.
defer this
So
item.
this is vote to defer this item. All those in favour? To say that the full item is on the agenda.
Could it also include a position where you plan to put it? Because there's nothing at the moment.
No, deliberately, because I don't think there was a decided one. But I'll talk about it next week.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, the next item on the agenda is to consider the proposal. Heather, your
Yes.
proposal. Please talk us through the 12 lots. 12 seats. 12 lots.
So, every so so often we have trees that fall, or branches that fall down and produce logs, which we offer to the parishioners to take a wheelbarrow full at a time. My proposal is to retain 12 of these over the course of however many years it takes, so that we can place them in a circle so that children on the green or on the wilderness can sit around them, have storytelling, have some fun, just be able to sit there. It's not a permanent structure. They're not attached to the ground in any way.
So perhaps speed this up. I've got quite a lot of suitable logs, which would work very nicely for this.
Right?
So rather than wait, I could actually happy with any of those.
That would be
Can I ask where?
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
Because clearly it can't be in the bit where the bomb fireworks go. Where there's a crowd coming for the fireworks because they'll be tripping over them. It obviously clearly can't be at the end of the wilderness where all the muck's going to be spread from the
I don't know where you want them on the wilderness anyway, when you've got a really nice circle in your lovely garden. So somewhere else, maybe on the green, might be better.
Well, we have the brownies in the garden. There's too many. We can't put them in the same.
So that was all I was wondering, whereabouts on the wilderness were you?
I haven't come up with a particular place yet because obviously they're unmovable.
That's true.
Well, you'll have to move them when they mow it.
I'm doing the hay cut.
Yeah. So,
Well, that'd be
that,
right.
yeah.
Have all of them.
But I'm just saying,
Good,
you
good,
can't
good.
just, yeah.
I'm happy to move 12 logs at
Sorry, as long as you be a lumberjack, haven't you?
So I guess
Who's going to clear the rubbish?
I vote in support of this. Oh, no,
we
I
consider the
propose
proposal
we
to
support
retain
this.
12 logs, so the proposal is actually that 12 logs cut into seats will be placed on the wilderness in a circle and moved as necessary
Yeah.
for functions, to allow for function or whatever, fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy with that? Seconder? I propose, Heather seconded, all those in favour? Thank you very much. Nina? Against? Abstaining?
There are one or two things I am a little bit concerned about from a legal audit point of view about where you put them, only because there are certain areas which are quite boggy, which at certain times of the year are boggy and would not be ideal to put them. There are one or two areas which have suffered a lot of trampling and are bald, so putting them there would not be ideal. And there are also, unfortunately, areas which are used a bit like a dog toilet, and I would recommend you didn't put them there from a health point of view. I'd just like to mention them.
So on the proposal, are you for, against or abstaining?
I'm abstaining, I think.
Because we just need to have the numbers.
Nicola, do I request we record the vote, please?
Can we redo the vote, please?
Sorry, what are we doing?
Rob has asked that the vote's recorded, so you proposed?
Yes, I proposed. Heather seconded.
All those in favour?
And one abstention. Right. And the purpose of recording as opposed to all the other votes?
It actually recorded how each councillor voted.
Oh, okay. Right. The next item on the agenda is to consider a proposal to set up a volunteer group. Politically, Claire, this is yours.
This is me. I wanted to ask the council's support and advice on setting up an occasional litter picking group within the village. I would ask the council to provide some of their litter pickers, that is the tool that you pick up with, and their risk assessment. I assume that everybody who joins it or would join it would have to be aware of the risk assessment, and I have thought that perhaps I would stick it up on the notice board and ask people to read it when they came along to meet in front of the village hall, having been asked via Facebook to join in. My own one or two concerns, I wonder what plastic bags to collect them. If somebody had some nice transparent big bags, I don't know where you get them from, but those would be very good.
You can get those in Waitrose.
Right.
They're like they're called storage bags.
storage bag, right?
Yeah, as opposed to, you know, swing bin liners or whatever.
Because
It's just
if we
called
have-
storage
if we
bags and
have-
they have a drawstring at the top.
If we have kids along, I think they'd like to see how much they've got.
I
They'd like to
think-
sort of have a competition to see who's got the most.
If you're doing community litter picking, Huntington District Council will provide you with equipment like that.
Oh, good.
Yes, I was going to say you can actually request them from the HDC for your own purpose,
Oh,
for
excellent.
putting green
Thank
rubbish
you.
out in a bag.
Good, good, good. Right, well, I just want to find out how to do that. And can we put the rubbish that we've found into the council bins?
They will also come and collect the rubbish if we leave it in an agreed location.
Gets better by the minute.
What's not to like?
The risk assessment would be something that you would have to complete to be approved by.
I have read the risk assessment. I am a genuine litter picker. I
Excellent.
have got my own litter picking, and I can show you, because I
She's
took a
an
photo
expert.
of the litter picking I did opposite the chicken farm on Sunday afternoon. I got a whole load of, well, you know, obvious cans and
Rubbish.
cans.
Sorry, litter. Litter.
I got it was a load of rubbish back. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That you're going to set it up and organise
Yes,
it.
I just wonder when people think it might be. I'm thinking Sunday afternoon, sort of either 11 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and I'm thinking somewhere before Christmas, and then somewhere in spring, and somewhere about 2 or 3 times a year. Does that seem sensible to people? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
Any other questions?
That's my proposal. I propose that... Thank you, everybody. That's great.
Everybody in favour? Yeah, that's it. So
Good.
Claire's
What was
proposing
that
second,
later
and she's going to set this up and let us know.
Yeah.
And if you've got any questions, come to us and ask us.
Thank you very much.
And we'll all be able to volunteer to go to join you on this.
I'm hoping that people will flock to help.
I don't.
If I got my own little stick to do it, I will. I'll enjoy that.
Nicola has some.
Yes, I know. I didn't realise. There we are.
148, to consider the option to apply for a grant from the FCC Communities Foundation for improvements to the pavilion, which brings us back to the pavilion, and that there is a grant that is out there from FCC, whoever they are.
It's what used to be REN, so it's what you use for the playground.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the closing date is in December, and so really this needs to get one. Do we want to apply for grant to get it to the pavilion group to get the
So the time for the pavilion group to meet in the next week or so. If we can have this to deal with, that would probably be the best way of doing it. So
Well, yeah, what you need is the option to apply, consider the option to apply for a grant. So the parish council agrees that we should look at securing, applying for the grant, then it can be done, can't it, by the working group.
I would just caution that the last time we applied for REN, we had to have 3 quotes and a preferred supplier that was resolved upon by the council.
Okay.
So there's quite a lot of work to do to complete
7th
an
of
FCC.
December. So you've got 2 parish council meetings before.
after the work group meets, we will then bring a proposal to the parish council, which will break down the work into various scales, if you want, like. So a mini scale or a large scale of work, which would then go out to tender by the pillar. So I think it's going to be quite unlikely we're going to get into that position by the closing date. When you get all the quotes in.
Deadline for applications is the 7th of December.
Do you have to have the quotes in by the deadline, or do you have to put the application in?
When we did the one for the playground, we had to have the 3 quotes and which one we chose and why. That's part of the application form.
So it's tight, but possibly doable.
Depends how quickly you can get quotes back.
Yeah. So, the thing on the agenda says to consider the option to apply for a grant. So I would propose that the parish council agrees that we should consider the option to apply for a grant, and that the working group should take that forward. And if they are able to get their 3 quotes in, they pass those, they take it forward.
Well, we've put together the definitions of what we're actually asking to be quoted.
Yeah.
Parish Council, I think we need to meet and agree on that,
Okay. Which hopefully maybe they can at the next meeting.
and then go out.
Yeah. And that will be the decider, won't it? If the tender's coming quickly, then it can be applied for by the 7th of December. If they don't come in, then they won't be able to.
There's quite a lot of other work to do with these tenders, so we can get that done as well. So we're just then waiting for the quotes.
So based on the agenda, I'm proposing that the Parish Council looks at the option to apply for a grant for improvements to the building.
I've got asked the working group to...
And ask the working group to take it forward. Any seconders? And everybody in favour? Nobody want to record that decision? Next item on the agenda is to review the financial reports. You've had the financial reports, you've heard the budget setting. Financial reports, as always, are in the supporting documents and show that, strangely, almost halfway through the year, we have almost spent half the money, and we've actually received the second part in that, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah, so we received 100% of the precept, and spent mostly in line with budget. The trees bit will cause confusion because there'll be a hangover to next year.
We'll end up putting that in the
Yeah. Because not all the costs will come in from...
I didn't get the financial documents.
Today, I only created them today because of the way the month end was on Friday, so I don't get the statement until today to show what went in on Friday. Okay.
Sorry, I was looking this afternoon, and then they weren't. So I didn't know they weren't there before.
I did leave a note in the Dropbox to say to be added after the 30th.
I just had these separate files and Dropbox.
Yeah, that changed today because I added the files after the 30th.
Okay, so the vote is to review the financial report. Now, the most important financial report we've had is the budget and the precept for next year, I think, and a consideration as to where we are and what we don't have, because it's as tight, isn't it? So, okay. It doesn't say receive, it just says review. So we've reviewed. Tonight payments received. Oh, that's why I thought the money was in, because it says it here. Second half of the precept came in from Huntingdon District Council of £15,775, and there will be some interest, but September to December.
It was received on Friday again, so it's £96.60.
Which is for a quarter or for a year?
For a quarter.
Which is considerably more than we used to get.
Yeah.
But of course, then inflation is excellent. And the next thing on here is to approve the payment schedule below of the items for payment. JSC services, 525, TP Garden Centre services, 20834, Ecotricity 373.31, which is the streetlights, I guess.
No, that's the pavilion. I noticed on the bills from Ecotricity that they haven't had a meter read since 2019. So that's why we've now got a very large bill, because they were working on the pavilion not using a lot of electricity. So what you've effectively got there is the bill for the last 3 feast weeks.
And we've had the money.
Which you've been had money for.
So, yikes. Payroll September 96325, Opus Street Lighting Energy 13346, Microsoft £11.28 for the office package, JSC additional cuts of football pitch £100. Don't know if they agreed to pay that.
The football club have agreed to pay it, or haven't received any money yet.
Unity Trust service charge £18, Energy Solutions for the batteries for the SID 200, and the data loggers £256.20. CAS Limited the additional insurance part for bonfire night £140. Dynamic Fireworks, strangely for fireworks, £1,779.20. Capout Annual Conference, which Nicola has been to or is going to.
Has been to.
£75. SLCC membership, £171. We never got a report from you for that.
No, I think most of it was spent doing London Bridge, given it was the Friday.
Oh, right. Happy days. PKF Little John, external audit, £240. And like the fireworks, that's got VAT in it, which we'll get back. And Royal British Legion, £60 donation. I propose that those items are paid. All those in favour? Last item on the list is councillors' items. Information only, no discussion, no decision. Right, Rob.
Nothing for me this week.
Nina? Kieran? John? I had written down sustainable transport, but I've already mentioned that. That's on Thursday, between 2 and 5 at Waitrose. I think there's an East-West Railway meeting coming up, but I can't remember the date. And on that note, the meeting is closed. Thank you very much for coming.